England and Fiji this weekend, folks, from Twickenham. A bit of a contrast between these two teams. England tend to kick a fair bit, Fiji less so, but both sides like busting some tackles. Both sides like scoring some tries. We will go through the lineups which have been announced, some predictions, recent history stats. You guys can let us know your thoughts on how you reckon this one is going to go and what you think the expectations are. It seems like tickets are still available for this one. Is it just me or are they a bit expensive? I don't know. I had a look on the website that said from £15, and I thought that's not that expensive, but those are the kids' tickets. Adults' tickets are significantly more than £15, but if you've got a kid, I guess that's fairly cheap to take them along. For England, they have made a few changes from the side who were pretty comfortable against Australia last week. They really defensively looked outstanding, and their aerial game caused the Aussies a lot of problems, even if England didn't kick as much as we have been used to seeing from them this year. Genge and Cowan-Dickie are promoted from bench roles to starters, and Genge is co-captain this week along with Itoje, but Itoje dropping to the bench, I guess, means Genge is the starting captain, so congrats to him. Joe Hayes is the only front rower to keep his starting spot at tight head, and then Coles and Chessum are in the second row, so it's been a long time since we've seen, well, I guess during the Lions series we saw England without Itoje, because he's off for the Lions for England, but usually if Itoje is available, he's starting in the second row for England. But I guess with the All Blacks coming a week later, maybe they're trying to limit some of his minutes. It kind of makes sense to me. Guy Pepper, Ben Earl, and Chandler Cunningham-South. The back row, so Pepper keeps the 6 jersey. Ben Earl shifts to flank for this one, and Cunningham-South is back in at number 8. I mean, Ben Earl was full of carries last week for England. I know some people would rather see him on the flank, but he's still pretty useful at number 8. And it'd be interesting to see if they actually swap around at any point during the game, because some teams like to swap them around during, like, is it a defensive scrum, is it an offensive scrum, field position, outfeed, their feed, that kind of thing. And Borthwick, for all his experimentation, doesn't really get credit. He just gets called Boring Borthwick. But he likes to do some funky stuff, so keep an eye on it, I reckon. Mitchell and Smith, 19 combo. That's Finn Smith for this one, although Marcus is playing as well. Marcus missed out entirely last week. He is there at 15, so you got the dual Smiths, dual playmaker combo. It's something the All Blacks were doing for quite a long time. We played Mo'unga and Barrett in our team for a while, so we'll see how that goes for England. They've certainly done this before. But Freddie Stewart, who was busting the line and busting tackles and whatnot last week, even if he dropped a few high balls, which was a bit uncharacteristic, he's not even in the 23. So Fiji aren't really the side that's going to kick a lot of high balls at you. So I guess that's kind of a low-risk strategy in that regard, and having 2 guys to play make can open certain doors offensively for you. Dingwall and Lawrence, that's a pretty sexy looking midfield. I like Dingwall's creativity, even if he did give that one opportunity to the Aussies last week with that intercept pass. Overall, still a quality player, and Lawrence with his ability on the ball carry from 13. Like that, and Freeman back to his more familiar right wing spot. Will be looking to cause some havoc. He'll be up against some pretty good Fijian wingers as well, but yeah, that's the English starting 15. George and Baxter drop to the bench, and Opoku-Fordjour is into the 23 on the bench as well. He's had a lot of people talking in terms of, like, people have been telling me for quite a while, he's a guy to watch, he's a guy to watch, he's a guy to watch. Well, he's getting a crack in this one, so we'll see how he goes from the bench if he's able to add some impact. Itoje is there in an unusual bench spot, but we'll see what kind of minutes they give him. 20 minutes? Tom Curry is still there. Henry Pollock. Do they bring him on in the back line? Potentially if the scoreline is comfortable for England. Potentially not if it's close. And then Ben Spencer and Henry Arundell round out just the 2 back replacements with a 6-2. Although, as I said, Borthwick is looking to get either Pepper or Pollock or somebody else into the back line, or maybe even Ben Earl, depending on how things go. I suppose we can expect to see a fair bit of kicking from Mitchell, because it's what he was doing last week. England, even with Ford there at 10, largely kicking off 9. If they can contest those aerial balls well against Fiji, that could certainly get them some go forward along with everything else they got going. For Fiji, they have kept pretty much the same forward pack that played in the Pacific Nations Cup. But it's a bit of a change backline bolstered by some of their European guys. It's largely a Fijian and Drua Super Rugby side in many areas of the squad, like Mawi, Ikanivere, and Donge. That's no change from the last time the Fijians ran out when they beat Japan in the Pacific Nations Cup. And likewise, Nasilasila and Mayanavanua. There's almost no changes, just with Nasilasila coming up from the bench and Vosese dropping to the bench. Nasilasila is a really good liner operator, pretty high work rate guy, so certainly a guy to watch in that second row. Salawa and Tanakavata are both pretty hard tackling machines. I feel like they're going to have their work cut out for them if England can dominate possession. And then Viliame Mata will be pretty familiar, I feel like, to most European rugby fans with the amount of time he spent up north. Veteran and good offloading game on him. As a guy to set up some other guys if he can get his arms free. Kurivuli and Muntz, that's the stable 9-10 combo from Fiji. Like I said, they're not going to kick a heck of a lot. They will look to spread the ball wide, and they are bolstered by the likes of Tui Silva at 12. They didn't have him in the Pacific Nations Cup. He is blockbusting. Ravovo was the joint top try scorer of the Pacific Nations Cup. So don't just look up for Tui Silva. Ravovo is a proper danger man as well. Wainingolo and Ravutamanda on the wings. Ravutamanda didn't have his greatest year in Super Rugby last year. I know he's over in Europe now. But if he can get his form, danger man. And then Rayasi, who's not played, more of a winger, but he is playing at fullback. He's a tall guy. I don't think he's played a heck of a lot of fullback in recent times, but if England test him with some high balls, they could potentially get some pay. But if he catches them, he is certainly a danger man. Spent many years with the Hurricanes. A lot of people would have liked to see him in black, but he's going to be representing Fiji as he has done in the past. Bench-wise, Toingitama, Hitet, and Tawake. Again, no changes in the front replacements from that team that last ran out. Voasese and Murray. That's your lock and loose forwards. And then Sam Y, halfback, Armstrong Avula as your kind of 10 or utility back. And then Mangala, another European-based guy in that kind of midfield or back three replacement. So, yeah, plenty of attack in that Fijian lineup, you reckon. Stats-wise, England kicked 26 times last week, which is a lot less than useful, but still managed to score a couple of tries from effective high ball kicking and chasing. And they were also very effective with their meters per carry, which is that number I'm always looking at to see how much go forward a team is getting. If you're like 4 or above, or in the low 4s, high 3s, tends to be pretty good. 3.7 meters a carry, 4.2 meters per carry, that kind of thing. You're doing pretty well. Where England's is among the highest in the game. They're averaging 4 tries a game this season and genuinely getting good numbers on the ball carry, despite the fact they kick a lot. So that they get tarred with the you just kick brush, but they can do a lot of other things very effectively. And they're on a great winning run, which has got them up to number 4 in the world. Fiji also, they don't kick that much, but they bust heaps of tackles. Albeit this year they've largely been playing the Pacific Nations Cup teams, the likes of Tonga, Samoa, Japan. They played Canada. So not the same caliber opposition that England has largely been taking on, but they did play Scotland as well over in Fiji, and they busted heaps of tackles in that game as well. They're cracking through the run meters. But they still, kind of like England, get tarred with the brush of, we just kick a lot. Well, Fiji get tarred with the we only carry and offload. They kick threes in most of their games this year. When the attack has not been able to penetrate, they're quite happy to slot a three-pointer, this Fijian side. They have beaten England before, back in 2023. It was 30 points to 22. That was Fiji's only ever win over England. Their last 5 games, it is 4-1. The games have largely been played at Twickenham, although there is that Rugby World Cup quarter-final from 2023 there played in France as well. The average score is 40 points to 18, so England tend to win pretty comfortably, but the last 2 results, 30-24 and 30-22, reasonably close games. So, yeah, fingers crossed this one is closer than some of the predictions say, because the bookies are saying England by 21, and 22, and the Rugby Forecast algorithm saying by 21. So England, yeah, pretty comfortable favourites going into this one. Kiwi Paul Williams is the ref. That maybe gives Fiji a touch of familiarity because a lot of these guys playing for the Drua will be pretty familiar with him from Super Rugby. But yeah, you guys let us know your thoughts. Do you see England blowing away Fiji, or Fiji to put up a decent fight? Unfortunately, it's on at the exact same time as Australia-Italy. So you're going to either watch both or pick one to watch. 5:40 kickoff, which is like 6:40 for those of us in New Zealand. So why they schedule the games at the same kickoff time? Don't know. Maybe there's not much of an audience overlap for England, Fiji, and Italy Wallabies, but I am in that overlap. Anyway, you guys take care, and I'll talk to you guys again soon. See you later.